I knew something was wrong the moment I saw folding chairs flying through the air and people screaming like they'd wandered into a horror MOV. Some were DIY into tents, others scrambling up onto RVs, or even climbing trees like the grass was on fire. All of them 25, maybe more trespassers, right smack in the middle of my south pasture, barbecuing, laughing, dancing. And not one of them had any business being there. But my dogs, they did what I trained them to do. Every single one of my 40 legal, licensed, and working livestock guard dogs came tearing through the field in formation. Not to bite, not to maul, just to surround, to corral, to trap. And it worked. The chaos was instant. It was almost theatrical, but it was real. And the woman responsible? She fainted flat out right there in the grass like a fallen lawn ornament. That was Karen. But let me take you back, because this mess started months before anyone fainted on my land. My name's Tyler Nash. I'm a contractor, was. I spent 20 years building homes in Denver, socking away every extra dollar with one goal in mind: buying a big stretch of land where nobody could tell me what color my barn had to be or whether my truck looked too industrial. I finally got that dream, a 300-acre ranch in southern Idaho. No neighbors, no streetlights, no HOA. Just open sky and peace. Or so I thought. Turns out, there's an HOA across the ridge that thought they could stretch their rules across county lines, all because the previous owner used to show up to their meetings just to keep the peace. That's when Karen showed up. Her real name? No idea. I just started calling her Karen the moment she came down my driveway with a clipboard and sunglasses the size of salad plates, muttering about property standards and how my weathered fence wasn't up to aesthetic code. I was polite the first few times. Told her I didn't live in her jurisdiction, didn't owe her or her board a single explanation. She didn't like that. She got creative. First it was hikers, random teens camping out near my creek. When I asked them what they were doing, they said Karen said it was okay. Then came the moms group with their toddlers and coolers, claiming they'd been invited to use my land for a nature walk. They'd cut my gate open. A steel gate. With bolt cutters. That was when I stopped being polite. I put up new signage, added cameras, some visible, some hidden, and had my attorney draft a letter that made it crystal clear: step foot on my land without permission and you're trespassing. I thought that would be the end of it. But Karen wasn't done. Last Saturday, I noticed movement in the south field. I figured maybe a coyote or a stray calf had gotten loose. Instead, I saw 11 cars, 4 RVs, and, I kid you not, a bounce house. A full-blown campout was in progress: stables, food, speakers blasting music, drones buzzing in the air. I was stunned silent. I drove down without a word. Karen was in the middle of it all, arms waving like a cruise director. When she saw me, she actually smiled. Said, "Oh good, you're here. We'll clean up, promise. The community park was too small, and you've got all this open space. It's perfect." I just stared at her. Didn't say a word. I pulled out my phone, opened the app connected to my perimeter system, and pressed a single button. 40 dogs had already taken position in the tree line. Shepherds, Malinois, Pyrenees trained to respond to one signal. They came running. Not one bite, not one nip, but they made sure nobody could move. It looked like a military maneuver, and it kinda was. Because when you raise guard dogs, you raise them to think, to listen, to protect. And they did. The guests screamed. Someone knocked over a grill. One guy climbed a tree. Karen dropped her wine glass and screamed, "Call 911. Whose dogs are these?" And then she fainted. I didn't even flinch. As I walked toward the mess, I spotted a drone high-end, with a camera and a sticker that said HOA Property Watch. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just an accident. It was a setup. They wanted me to react, to lose it. They wanted footage of me looking like a lunatic with wild dogs on my land. And for a moment, I felt rage so deep my hands shook. But I kept walking. I issued a voice command over my radio, and the dogs pulled back to a wide perimeter. They sat, ears up, tails low. One man, a balding guy in cargo shorts, walked up with his hands raised. "We thought it was public space," he said. Karen told us she got permission. She didn't, I replied, motioning to the wreckage. And now, she's unconscious on my land with 25 people and a drone filming everything. I called the sheriff, told them the situation, trespassing, property damage, possible surveillance. They arrived within 15 minutes. Sheriff Briggs knew I didn't call unless something was serious. He took one look at the field and let out a sigh. You gotta be kidding me. Wish I was, I said. Karen was groggy but awake by then. First thing out of her mouth? What kind of maniac keeps 40 dogs? Sheriff stepped in. Ma'am, you're on private land. Mr. Nash has every right to protect it. You and your group are in violation of trespassing laws. Karen scoffed. We were just making memories for the community. That drone is for our HOA blog. We'll be confiscating it, the sheriff replied, and motioned for a deputy to grab it. But the damage was already done. That evening, a cropped video showed up online, standing in the field while the dogs ran, Karen's voice narrating. This man said attack dogs on families and children. It exploded. Local news, Facebook groups, even my cousin from Oregon called asking what the heck happened. And the cherry on top? HOA released a statement supporting Karen's version. Said my dogs were dangerous, that I needed to be investigated by animal control. Animal control showed up the next day with news cameras. I stood at my gate and said, "You have a warrant?" They didn't. I turned them away. But that evening, another headline, rancher refuses inspection amid dog attack claims. I was done playing defense. I called my lawyer Cheryl, smartest woman in 3 counties. She looked at the footage, the posts, the drone shots. Said, they're framing you. But if we strike first, we control the narrative. So we filed. Trespassing, harassment, defamation. And just as we did, a private investigator named Marcus reached out. He had files, mails, texts, HOA meeting recordings. They'd done this before. They'd run people off their land, then rezoned it, flipped it to developers. My ranch? Prime target. Their plan was to make it unlivable. Force me to sell. But I wasn't going anywhere. We held a press conference right there in my pasture. Showed every clip from my hidden cams. Karen unlocking the gate. The crowd pouring in. Me GIVYing a clear warning. And my dogs calm, alert, never aggressive. The internet flipped. People apologized. The HOA board started splintering. And then came the nail in the coffin. Marcus found a Zoom call. HOA President Duval laughing, saying, once we scare him off, we'll triple our money. Call the dogs wild and seize the land. I handed it to the sheriff. Duval resigned. Karen disappeared. But it didn't end there. I still walk my land every morning. Still see where the tents were, where the gate was cut. But now I walk it with peace. Because I stood my ground. And next time someone thinks about setting up camp on my ranch, they'll remember the day the dogs came running. If you made it this far, what would you have done? Should I have stayed quiet? Or did Karen finally get what she deserved? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Because this ranch, it's still mine, and I plan to keep it that way.